Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to reveal my true, honest feelings after 6 years of rewatches during the Christmas season and just thinking about it with my wife. Star Wars The Last Jedi, Episode 8. Is it underrated? Is it overhated? Is it truthfully bad? Or is it a secret masterpiece? Now, disclaimer, I am an OG trilogy fan. Yes, I'm 26, and I grew up watching the prequels, but I've always preferred the original trilogy. Luke Skywalker is my hero. If it wasn't for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Luke Skywalker would be my number one childhood hero. And I'll always have love for that original trilogy. It helped me bring my love for Star Wars. Now, when The Last Jedi first came out 6 years ago, I didn't necessarily hate it, but I didn't like it. I was just like, really? Like, really? The biggest gripe I had with this movie when it first came out was Luke Skywalker. And like I said, Luke Skywalker is my second favorite childhood hero. He's a fucking badass. I loved him in the Legends canon. I love the Legends book with Luke Skywalker. So it's understandable that some people can feel a certain way when it comes to a hero like that. Like, I kept saying, like, Luke Skywalker wouldn't do that. He would still be the hero. He saved Darth Vader, the most evil man on the planet. But like I said, during the many years of rewatches for this movie, I used to have this movie at a 4.5 out of 10. Like I said, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I'm just like, it's one that I really could care less for. But over the years, I'm starting to come around this movie. Now, do I think it's a masterpiece? Fuck no. Do I think it's overhated? To me, a little bit, yes. But that everyone has their own opinion. If you don't like this movie, I totally respect it, and I understand your criticisms. I understand your cons. But to say that this is the worst Star Wars movie, I don't know, man. There's some underlining messages in this movie that I feel like we're looking past because we're just so focused on Luke Skywalker trying to be who he was so many years ago. And I get it, but time changes everyone, and it sucks to say. But let me go over some things that I loved about this movie and some things I'm, still a little iffy about. You can't deny that The Last Jedi has the most beautiful shots in any Star Wars movie, so I will give that to Rian Johnson. He knew what he was doing with those amazing shots. My favorite one being Luke Skywalker facing down the First Order. Seeing Master Yoda come back to the Star Wars saga. I love this scene right here, and, for as much hate as Last Jedi gets, you can't deny this scene isn't fucking immaculate. When Luke is just done with the Jedi Order, he's done with the ways of the Force, Master Yoda comes in and saves the day. Failure is the greatest teacher you can have, is what Yoda says to Luke Skywalker. And a lot of people like to overlook that scene, and it sends a powerful message because Yoda understands that they fucked up with Anakin Skywalker. Even though it took so many years for Yoda to realize, you know what? Yeah, maybe we fucked up with Anakin. Yeah, maybe we should have not treated him like some mindless robot, but as an actual human being. And he's hoping with Luke Skywalker, he can pass down his knowledge of the Force, his passion and love for the Force, his strengths, pass them down to Rey. That way, when she rebuilds the new Jedi Order, she won't repeat the mistakes of the past, sins of the Father's past. And Yoda's telling Luke, man, you gotta understand, you failed. Yes, you fucked up. But use that failure, pass it down to Rey, so she doesn't fuck up like any of us, and she breathes new life into the Jedi Order, and I love this scene. And Kylo Ren, I'm not gonna lie, The Force Awakens, he was alright, but in The Last Jedi, he's pretty good, and I'm glad that Adam Driver gets to use more of his good acting skills, very underrated, to bring a new side of Kylo Ren that we never really saw in The Force Awakens. One I never really see people talk about is how much of a character arc Poe Dameron gets. You know what's funny is that Oscar Isaac was supposed to be killed off in The Force Awakens, but he wanted his character to live. So he talked to J.J. Abrams and said, hey man, can I live? And so I actually really do appreciate that Poe Dameron kind of takes more of a lead role as he tries to lead to resistance, to victory, and to safety. And now, this is probably going to piss off a lot of people, but I actually really do like Luke Skywalker's story arc in this movie. And let's be realistic. Do you think you're going to be the same after so many years? I get it. This is the man that saved Anakin Skywalker, that saved the galaxy, that led the rebellion to victory. But after so many years, you grow tired of it. Yeah, at first you're like, it's no problem. But he just looks so old and tired that he's just done fighting. He wants to give up. And, it's kind of a realistic standpoint. And I get it. Did I want to see a badass Luke Skywalker taking down stormtroopers and doing the most badass Jedi things that he did in Legends canon? Fuck yeah, I did. But I also look at it from a realistic standpoint that he's just kind of done with the fighting. He just wants to be left alone in peace because he fucked up. He made a dumb mistake. And what people haven't made dumb mistakes? Let's be honest. We've all done some fucked up shit to where we kind of shut everything out. And I know people don't like this scene. I'm going to be honest. I kind of don't like this scene either because it's looking like Luke wants to kill Kylo. But then remember in Return of the Jedi when Luke straight up almost killed his dad and he hesitated for a moment. He's like, shit, I'm falling to the dark side. I wouldn't say it's the same repeat of the scene, but right before Luke does anything, he realizes, fuck, what am I doing? And before he could turn off his saber and leave, Kylo wakes up, which is unfortunate. So when people kind of complain about Luke almost killing Kylo, well, I mean, Luke almost killed Vader, so I'm not trying to say they're the same scene. But in this scene right here, Luke realizes that he made a mistake and he fucked up. And I know people do not like the way Luke Skywalker died in this movie, but I do. I think it is the most Jedi thing any powerful Jedi Master or even Grandmaster could fucking do. He literally used the Force in a non-violent way. I know people wanted a badass showdown between him and Kylo Ren, but he used the Force in a peaceful way so whatever left of the Resistance could escape and that he can try to reach Ben Solo. Not Kylo Ren, but his nephew, Ben Solo. And my wife pointed this out. Look at those two sunsets. Just like in A New Hope when Luke is looking at the sunset, how fitting is it that at his end, he's looking at the sunset, twin sunsets. And I know this is another negative for people. It is kind of a negative for me. It could have been a lot worse. I think if she were to heal up right away after flying back to the ship, then that would have been major bullshit to me. But I kind of do respect the fact that she was out for a while. But yeah, this is one of my negatives with this movie. For Rey, I'm kind of in the middle with her character in this movie. I'm not saying she was bad, but, I will say that she does develop her character a little bit more. I just wish we had a little bit more Jedi training with her and Luke. Do I think Snoke was killed off way too early? Yes and no. Yes, because I thought he would have been kind of like a Palpatine throughout this whole trilogy. But when Snoke died, and when Kylo didn't want to, return to the light side, I was thinking, oh shit, Kylo is the new big bad. And, Rise of Skywalker, he gets redeemed. So I was kind of hoping that Kylo Ren wasn't going to be redeemable, that he was just going to be the main bad for the end of the trilogy. Finn. I loved him in Force Awakens. He was ready to fight off the First Order and Kylo Ren, whether he died or not. He was done. He was tired of running away. But then here comes The Last Jedi. And just like Gale Weathers in Scream 6, his character arc, to me, in my opinion, gets restarted, and he goes on this whole journey again, and to me, I don't like it. It's dumb. I really think Finn should have sacrificed himself, stopping the First Order when they were about to blow up a hole where the Resistance was at. That would have been such a fitting end to his character. Started out as a stormtrooper, and it gave his life so the Resistance could escape. And I still think he should have been a Jedi in this trilogy, but that's my personal opinion. And let's not forget, this man had a badass fight scene with Captain Phasma, whether or not you like the characters. So all in all, do I think The Last Jedi is a masterpiece? Fuck no. Do I think it's the worst Star Wars movie? Fuck no. I think it's pretty good. I think it's good, to me, in my opinion. I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Now, I'll always prefer the original trilogy. Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, and Empire Strikes Back will always be my top 3 Star Wars movie. But, like I said, I've come around this movie and I've grown a little warm to it. Maybe when time passes by and when things settle out with Disney Star Wars, maybe people will appreciate this movie more. Who knows? But let me know in the comments below your all-time favorite Star Wars movie and your thoughts on The Last Jedi.